Welcome to a very special edition of the CK Podcast. I'm your host, Leo Bias, and today we got my boy Tyson bringing you guys all the latest and greatest news around the association. Welcome. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way we get the algorithm rolling once again. I know we've been off for a while here on the YouTube channel here with all the Basketball Zone news around the league. We haven't been the best and the sharpest, but pretty much basketball is back, Tyson. I know you're super excited. We're going to break it all down in about 25 minutes or so in preparation for tomorrow's NBA draft. There's been a lot of news already, and let's start off with the big one. KP to the Celtics. Is it happening or is it not?
Well, it's on pause as of now. I bet it'll happen soon, just between the two teams, but the three-team deal is a for sure no-go. You have concerns with, well, if you want to start with the full trade, you have Porzingis who's going to Boston, you have Brogdon supposed to be going to LA, and then you have Morris and the 30th pick going to Washington, but as of not that long ago, the trade is off because of Porzingis hasn't decided if he's going to opt in or out, which I believe is $36 million. And then you have the Clippers reportedly saying that Brogdon's injury is worse than they thought, so they don't want to involve themselves in that deal. So now the Celtics, it's going to be, they want Porzingis, but now it's going to be harder because they don't have the salary and they don't have the help now from the Clippers to actually make that deal happen.
Wow. That is crazy. Why is it, but for me, just right off the bat, why is it a surprise about Malcolm's injury history? Like, did the Clippers not know this when they made the initial, or when they said the initial yes to the deal? Like what's that all about? I mean, this guy's sixth man of the year, reigning sixth man of the year, big time player. Like, why?
I mean, yeah, the guy hasn't played over 50 games in 5 seasons now. Yeah, I think last year was sixth man of the year. Because when I first heard the deal, I'm like, oh my god, the Clippers just got Brogdon for Marcus Morris at the 30th pick. But I mean, yeah, you don't. He's got a bunch of lower leg injuries, and that's a huge concern because mobility. I mean, you saw he couldn't even finish the conference finals, so had to pull themselves out of the deal and potentially losing out on a good player.
So, on the league alerts, it says that the Wizards are still trying to work out a deal with KP to Boston. It just won't be in a three-way trade with the Clippers. A lot of people in the comments, obviously, there's some comical stuff here, but saying that y'all thought the Clippers got fleeced. Is there a path, in your opinion, for KP to go to the Celtics without involving the Clippers?
I don't see one, in my opinion. I think you have, because you got the expiring of Gallinari, that's in there for sure. You have, I think, okay, you put Brogdon in there again. That's because if he opts in, you got to get to close to 36 million, right?
Right.
So that between Gallinari and Brogdon, I think Brogdon's at like 16, Gallinari's at like 5. That's only 20. So like, are you gonna include Robert Williams? Like, because I don't see how you get. Are you gonna include one of your other guards? Because I don't see how you get to that number. I mean, unless you can get a different third team involved, which is something.
Which is something that they have to do, right? I think that's the path for them to
But they
make this
also
deal happen.
Porzingis has until 9 o'clock our time to decide whether he's in or out for his player option. So
That's
they have to
interesting.
get it. They have to get it done within the hour.
That is interesting. So the title of the show is Who Will Be the Next Bruce Brown? In your opinion, out of all the candidates that will be free agents, we got reports like the Magic saying Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony will be on the trade block potentially. Derrick Jones Jr. is declining his option, his player option. Rumors like that. Is there somebody in particular that stands out to you and you're like, okay, this role player could be the next star role player like Bruce Brown was for the Denver Nuggets?
Um, that's tough. I mean, I don't think someone like Derek Jones is nowhere near that level, but I'm guessing. Um, that's tough. I'd have to look, but I mean, some I could name guys that I think have scored better than Bruce Brown, but I don't know if they're like willing to sacrifice and do what he does. Um,
That's true. That's a great point. Sacrificing, putting the ego aside, doing the little things to win basketball games, diving on the floor, taking charges. Those things aren't sexy. Boxing out, those things are hard to do, and Bruce Brown is willing to do those things.
Same, yeah. Bruce Brown, Josh Hart, those guys are in their own category when it comes to like intangibles. Like they play hard every single night, like no matter what. That's why their plus minus is always going to be through the roof because they don't need to have 20 points to show that they impacted the game.
Right, right. People, Devin is saying, is Cam Johnson the free agent? Could we get him?
He's restricted, and from a Kings perspective, I highly doubt it.
So explain to Devin what restricted means against unrestricted.
So you restricted means the Nets have his rights, so they also it gives the Nets permission to basically match any offer sheet that he signs. So the Kings, the Nets probably have a set price in their mind,
So say
and
the Kings offer 5 years, $100 million. So kind of explain what
the
the process would be for the
so the
Nets.
Nets would have the next 48 hours to decide do they want to match that, which they are definitely going to match that. And then you don't get the player, the Nets do, because that's the privilege of a restriction on a player.
There it is, Devin. So that is what restricted versus unrestricted means. I think Cam Johnson is very interesting. I believe he's going to be overpaid. I like him, but not for those types of numbers. Talking about Kyle Kuzma and numbers just in general, there are some rumors, and obviously this is all agent talk. You know, agents putting this out, using reporters to put this out to leverage his camp, right? And he's talking ballpark $30 million per. He is smoking some good weed. I'll be honest with you. There is no way in hell that man gonna get paid $30 million. If he does, I will
If he does,
apologize. I will apologize, but geez Louise, that would
the
be
yeah,
terrible.
the only two teams that can even offer that are the Spurs and the Rockets.
And
So
and
if you
and,
want to
and
go
they
to
not
the
doing that.
yeah, so if you want to go to the Spurs, the Rockets, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs ain't a bad thing just because they're gonna get a ton of global attention now because Wemby gonna be there, right? Like they'll probably be, we'll probably slot them on national television for sure. Like you want Wemby, he's Showtime, but I
Yeah,
know for a fact that the Spurs is not the type of organization to throw money at a player. No disrespect, like Kyle Kuzma with those types of habits for $30 million.
no, if the Spurs are going to throw money, they're going to throw money at someone like Reeves, or someone like that, like somewhere in the $20 million ballpark. But
Damn. Are they saying Reeves gonna get paid $20 million? That's crazy.
$20 million from one of those type of teams, I think so. Um,
Jeez Louise. Your thoughts on that and just Reeves and the type of impact he can make without a guy like LeBron James?
I mean, Reeves is that type. You want to talk about someone close to like the Bruce Brown type? I think Reeves is not that far from that. Yeah, what can he do on a different team, like in a maybe a bigger role? Like, say you put him on a team like the Spurs or something like that. I think I like his game a lot. I think it translates no matter what. Can shoot. He's crafty. Can dribble. Has good IQ. Good size. I think his market. I wouldn't like. I wouldn't go more than 15 on a short term deal. Somewhere around there. But I could easily see like the
I'd pay
Spurs.
him 15, 16.
Yeah, I'll give him a 3 or 4 year deal worth that per year. But I could easily see the Spurs, like if the Spurs or the Pistons or one of those teams that have like 50 plus million in space to get him away from the Lakers, they'll be like, well, we'll just give you 20, and then the Lakers have no chance. So I mean, that's going to be hard to say no for him at the same time.
What's up, Vegas Ron? What's up, Big Beep 916 Kings fan? Oh, you guys, appreciate you guys for joining the live stream. I know it's been a long time. Shout out to Medici Sacramento, right across the Golden One Center, the best pizza in town. Make sure you guys continue to support your local businesses. We are back. Literally, free agency is what, a week away now. The NBA draft is tomorrow. Time flies, man. It feels like yesterday that the Kings were just in the playoffs battling against the Golden State Warriors and then the Denver Nuggets crowned champions last week. It is moving. It's moving fast. We got rumors about Paul George potentially being split up with Kawhi Leonard. Is Paul George a name that intrigues you if you're the Sacramento Kings, or if you're a team like Memphis, if you're a team like, say, Philadelphia, or any of these contenders that are looking to take the next step? Are you willing to give up assets for a guy like Paul George, who is extremely talented but is very injury prone?
Well, I think you definitely have to at least try and like you have to at least make the call. Just like I think it's similar to a Bradley Beal situation.
Which we'll
His
get to
number
right now.
his number isn't that high like Brad's, but I think Paul George is at 47, then 52, and then like 56 or something in the final year, similar. And he's like, I'd be the talent. I really love it because he fits. He fit like on any of those contenders you just named. And like I said, you have to at least make the call. Um, Now, obviously, depending on assets and all that, but I would be so like I'd want all the medical reports with him. I mean, he's he's like at the point where he's like one lower leg injury away again, and it's like I don't know how much he has because he hasn't. You'd have to load manage him a ton. He hasn't played, I don't think, over 50 games in a while. Lower leg injuries. He's had multiple surgeries on his legs, his knees. It's a high risk, but it could be a high reward at the same time.
Do you see Nas Reed being a Bruce Brown type of impact of a player?
I can
Or is
see
he
that.
just too does Nas Reed do the dirty things, the little things? I don't know if he does. I think he's very high energy, but high energy doesn't mean doing things like Bruce Brown does. Specifically Bruce Brown.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nas Reed, I think the guy's only 23 years old. He, I think, I think under a coach like Mike Brown, I think he could. That's where he could get that out of him. What would that role look like? I think, yeah, he's very talented and he plays extremely
Yeah.
hard all the time. But yeah, could he sacrifice something here and there to be a better deep defender at certain moments? Like, yeah, I think he can do it.
Would you start Nas Reed on the Kings with no HB? Or do you still bring him off the bench as Sabonis' backup?
I think I bring him off the bench, but I think I play them together at least 10 minutes in a game. Like I think because I not Reed has shown like I've watched film where he actually and he shredded the Kings like right in front of my face. Like he actually played like with Gobert. He actually played better somewhat than he was by himself because when he's by himself, he's not like it's not like he's 7 foot. He's
Right.
max 6'10". So but the thing where he can kill teams and play with another big is he shoots the three at 35.6% on high volume. So like he's shown he can play with another big. But as starting him, no. But I think they do play together at least like I said 10 minutes on the court at the same time.
Can Trey Lyles be the next Bruce Brown?
I don't think up to his level, but I think he has some of that in him. I think we saw it. He I don't think I don't know. I think his ceiling is not that up there of a Bruce Brown, but I think he has some Bruce Brown in him. I've seen it.
Is Trey Lyles, in your opinion, a must sign acquisition for the Kings, like a must resign, or if he moves, to a different team and the cap space is freed up for you to go get someone else, like, would you be okay with that, or you're like, no, like, we have to go all in and try to bring him back? Like, what's your feeling towards the whole situation?
Um, I think they want him back. I think he's a nice cheap option. That's the thing. Like if you go out
What if he's
versus,
not cheap? I keep hearing cheap, but what if he's like, nah, like, I proved it in the playoffs. I proved it towards the second half of the season that I'm that guy off the bench. What if he's asking for 12 mil per season? Are you giving it to him?
no, no, absolutely not. The
Okay.
the number, like I said, if you want to go back to one of those teams that can offer you that, like mid level, but I don't think he's that guy, to be honest. I don't think he's gonna do that. Um, I think he's in the. I think the number for somewhere in the 7 to 8. I wouldn't. 9 is like really pushing it. Not if it's 9, I would do no more than a 2 year deal. But I could see something in the 3 year, 2 or 3 year deal worth 7 or 8 per year. That's the most I'd go. Anything else. I gotta find
Interesting.
something else.
Yeah, I'm not doing more than 9. I think we're on the same boat there. Your thoughts on Gary Trent opting in?
I was shocked when I first saw it, but then I didn't realize the number was 18. I thought it was like 14. I was like, oh, he's gonna opt out, but 18. I think he's smart by taking that because one, he's not getting 18 on this year's market. His best bet is they have a new coach. Maybe he gets a better role. Maybe he
Hmm.
shows that he can actually get a long term deal near the 18 million mark next year. I think he's betting on himself, but
Yep.
the Raptors have heard that one before.
Right, right. Your thoughts on Jakob Hurtle preferring not to be in a rebuilding situation next season? Is this the guy that the Kings could potentially go after
Um,
if he in fact becomes available in any way, shape, or form?
I think, yeah, I just think he'll be too expensive for a team like the Kings, and plus I think he's a starter at this point. Um, he, I mean, I don't blame him for not wanting being in a rebuilding situation. He just came from like arguably the worst situation in the league, but um, I think his number is gonna be. I think his number's anywhere from 16 to 20, and that's too high.
So let's get to the whole Bradley Beal trade. Obviously, I haven't talked about it publicly. We've had conversations about it. In my opinion, this idea that the Suns are incomplete and the Suns are in trouble because they only have 4 starters, I can make the argument that they have 3 potential All NBA guys, at least 2 of them. Brad, if he's healthy, to me, he's an All NBA guy as well. I'm not going to sit here and say just because he didn't go to the Kings that he's not that type of player. I believe he is. He's really good at basketball. I know he's been patting stats the last few years, but what do you do on a bad team like that? I don't blame him, honestly. He's a hell of a basketball player, and I feel like, do you keep Chris Paul or do you upgrade and get Bradley Beal? That's how I see the trade. I understand that they got to pay a boatload of money to have three types of players like this. But at the end of the day, there will always be ring chasers, veterans that will take the minimum, which they're going to need a lot of these guys to take minimums to essentially fill up the roster with players. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think they can find guys like Terrence Ross's every year, really, to come play with KD, Booker, and Bradley Beal. Phoenix, the state of Arizona, it's already known to be a destination. A lot of wealthy people go out there. They have a vacation home in the Scottsdale, Glendale area. It's a beautiful place, if I'm being honest, and it's a place where people like to go golfing as well. So I believe it's a destination, and they'll be fine. So from that perspective, I like what they did, and I hate it for the Kings because even though a lot of people shitted on them and want to make fun of them, I believe they got better. And I don't know how you feel about it though.
Well, there's no question about it. I mean, they got better, but the thing was like, and from the Suns' perspective, and any other team that was trying to get him, if you got him for that price, as low as they got him, you have
Mm.
to do it. Like you can't.
That's
There's
my
no
point.
like.
You
There's
have
no
to do
like.
it.
Like yeah, if they said Chris Paul and what's his
Shaman.
name? Yeah, you're telling me you're not gonna do it? Like
Stupid.
there was not even a pick involved. Like
They can't
there,
lose on the fact that they were gonna cut Chris Paul regardless.
e- exactly, and even if they would have said Aiton, I still would have ran with it.
I
So
would
like,
have.
yeah, are they gonna have problems filling out the roster? Yes, but like,
Sure.
did they get an did, when healthy? Did they get an All NBA player for essentially free? Yes. I
One
mean,
hundred percent.
you can't deny talent. I mean, that guy, I don't when healthy, and that's a big if, but that guy is arguably a top 25 player when healthy. I mean, the guy averaged 30 points last year or 2 years ago.
Now I'll
So
say this, right? They can go ahead and flip Aiden to
oh,
somebody
that's coming.
else.
That's coming.
Right, and create the space they need. That's the scary part.
They got to get at least two because if they get at least two role players back for him in return, that's a win. Like you get a decent wing and his replacement in the same trade. that's that's huge.
Right. That, and then even last year, with both of their backups, they had Biombo and the white guy, right? I'm okay
Yeah,
with those guys being your centers when you have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin. Do you see, like you see where I'm going with
that's
this?
what
Like,
exactly, which is why I didn't like Aiton in the first place. Um, you don't need like it's not like you need a guy to average 20 and 10.
you
Like
don't.
you need a guy to like just set screens and rebound and be
That's
a
it.
decent. Like that's it. Like we're not. You can get away with having like a not so great positional player there.
Right. So let's get to the big one. OG today is being rumored along with Pascal Siakam from our boy Chris Haynes, who I gave buckets to. Y'all can ask him in Elk Grove, California, just to specify where I give that man buckets. But no, that's our boy. He came out and said that the Kings are chasing, I believe were the words, OG and Pascal together. I don't believe that's going to happen. I give it like a 0.0001% they get both. But if they can land one, preferably OG, that would be phenomenal. With that said, if you had to choose one of those players, which one would it be, Tyson?
That's a no-brainer. I mean, it's OG 100 times out of 100.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't have to think. Go. Oh wait. Like no. It just makes too much sense. Just makes too much sense.
Although Pascal as a second, third type of guy, I mean, he
I mean,
would
of
be
course.
he would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. I love Pascal too, but it's you can't tell me it's not as clean of a fit than the other guy.
Right. 100%. OG can guard 1 through 5. OG is on a much cheaper contract, although OG will command 25 to 30 million dollars, believe it or not, with how the cap is going. And if guys like Kuzma are asking for 30 million dollars,
What do you
uh
think?
yeah, like what do you think OG gonna get? Come on, man. And I know people, Kuzma averaged 20. And I'm like, bro, OG is a better basketball player than Kyle Kuzma.
OG averaged 17 and can guard every position.
So that's the crazy, and that's when people just look at box score stats. But yes, if the Kings can somehow get an OG, what would that look like, Tyson? I know you wrote down some trade proposals.
It's insanely hard just knowing that because the Raptors are not biting. I mean, they're not. They're it's a steep price, and I don't blame them. I mean,
Hmm.
this is a guy who, if you make available, the entire league's calling. So I don't. For the Kings' perspective, you know who the first person they're going to ask for is, and that's going to be a no from the Kings' perspective. And then that's to me where the conversation ends. You can try,
It's tough.
you know,
Are you
obviously.
willing to give up Keegan if that's what it requires. I know last year we would have definitely done it, and obviously, recency bias will always kick in. We're all human beings. We saw what Keegan did in the playoffs. We see what he can become, especially where he didn't really show off all of his arsenal in terms of his post-up game. We know it's there. It's a very good post-up game. He's an elite shooter already, an elite stationary shooter. He's a great movement shooter. There's still a lot of room to grow for him, even though he is an older type of guy. But with that said, he's still a starter in the NBA at 6'8", who can shoot the lights out of the basketball. So with that said, and if you're trying to take the next step, you want to add a guy like OG to a team that has a Keegan Murray. And that's where last year, if they wanted Keegan, that's where they could have done it, because the Kings could have been desperate to say, you know what, let's do it. But now you're like, okay, we're in a position to where we have a little bit more leverage. At the same time, the Raptors can be like, well, I'm not going to give up OG if I don't get what I want. And I wouldn't blame them, right?
Right. I mean, that's the most intriguing asset the Kings have, and that just sucks that it's that way. But
I mean, would you give up, say, a Keegan Murray in a trade for a Paul George? If all the medical reports come back fine, like, is that the type of guy you say I'll give up Keegan for?
I think I'm more closer to giving up him for OG than I am for Paul George, to be honest.
Okay.
If Paul George was a couple years younger, for sure, but I don't. That's tough. That's tough.
That is pretty tough. Honestly, it's just hard to say no to a deal like that. But
it's tough when the Kings only have 7 guys under contract right now, and 3 of them are untouchable. So, and then the other 4, you're like, we really don't want to include them in a deal unless we have to.
Right. And I saw Bam in this report. So obviously the Blazers are ready to make an offer for Bam. Can the Kings get into the Bam sweepstakes if he becomes available?
No.
Right.
Bam is going absolutely nowhere. There's zero chance that Portland can try. There's.
If you're Miami, would you trade Bam for number 3?
And Simons and someone else.
So you would do it just for number 3?
That doesn't even work financially.
Right. Well, I guess, yeah, right. I'm just saying, like, that being like the main asset, and right. So it would have to be Simons in number 3.
And I don't think that's enough.
and right, but like somebody else to like fill the gap.
They also have pick 23. That would probably have to be somewhere in there too.
Would you make that deal if you're Miami or if you're Portland?
Well, Portland's the most desperate team in the league, so they probably would. But Miami, I don't. No, I'd have to get like a Godfather offer for me to move Bam, who like is my second best player.
Damn, like you don't think Scoot Henderson with the Heat culture would just become like the next Dwayne Wade?
I mean, I agree, but like if I'm the Heat, I'm trying to win now. Like,
but
my title window is closing. Like, do I want to really like get invested into a guy who I know is going to be good, but by the time he's good, we're not going to be winning?
That's an interesting thing, bro. I'll be honest with you. I'm literally considering it. If it lands me a Scoot, right, for a Bam, and I have to retool the roster, but I'm going to be good with with the guys like Jimmy on his way out. Man, that's
why I think like if I don't, no matter what, I think obviously signs are pointing to the Blazers getting Scoot, like because the Hornets think Brandon Miller's a better player. But like if I'm Dame, that's where like I don't care if we get Scoot or not. Like by the time Scoot's good, where am I gonna be at? Like there's no way. I know Miami's waiting for Portland to do something stupid because they're gonna be the first team calling, but it's just like why I need immediate help.
Right, so let's end the show with two more guys, Draymond Green and Zion Williamson. Let's start off with Zion. Obviously, there's been so much chatter about him and his off-court stuff with the young ladies that do those types of things, and he's been in the media ruckus pretty much like every other day now. Your thoughts on any team potentially trading for Zion, and that includes the Kings?
Well, I'll just start with the Pelicans' perspective. If I'm the
Okay.
Pelicans, I would consider trading him. I seriously would. Now, would I consider trading him for a top 3 pick? I don't know because I feel like I'm in the same situation that I just said before. The Pelicans are like their roster's good. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be like a top seed now. So if I'm gonna trade Zion, I don't want to trade it for a top pick. I'd rather trade him for like a close to a guaranteed All Star in return. I know his value's at all
So
time
we'll
low.
just trade him for Paul George straight up.
I consider that heavily. Yeah,
I would trade him for Paul George straight up. Well, obviously like just to fill in the gap of numbers, but
I would trade him for. I would add to it, but I would try and get Jaylen Brown.
oh my God, I mean, if they did that,
Like if they said, "Give me Zion number 10 or 11 and somebody else like Dyson Daniels for Brown," or if they asked for Murphy, like that's tough to say no to. And then the Pelicans are a juggernaut. Like I think you have to consider trading Zion just because I think it's too much of a risk at this point. Like you're paying the guy
I
to
would
just
trade
do.
him for any of those guys. Paul George, Jalen, the number 3 pick, and I tell you why. Because I think Scoot is going to be really good, and I believe having a rookie Scoot over a injured Zion throughout the season is a lot better, and I'll take those chances because I just don't see how this man stays healthy unless he just has like just an insane turnaround in his life in terms of eating healthier, not doing stupid things off the court that I don't even want to talk about. But geez, man, this guy's full of drama right now. He's just so good. It's not like I'm trying to clown him specifically because he's amazing and on paper he's the perfect fit with Sabonis. Like he's the perfect fit on most teams, but I don't trust him, man. Am I wrong for not trusting this guy?
No, I mean that's the reason why I want them to consider trading him. I can't. Yeah, you're good when you're available, but you've been only been available for 25 games a year, and the best ability is what availability. So I can't bank on what you could be. Like I need to know now.
Right, right. So let's go with Draymond Green declining his $27.5 million. And I'll say this real fast. He is not getting more than $27 million on a long-term deal, on a short-term deal. He
He's on.
obviously knows that he's going to take less money, but he's going to choose where he goes and plays. What do you think happens with this situation?
I think he's. Yeah, I mean, I think he just wants to get that last kind of long term deal. I don't. I think he's back with the Warriors for sure. He may test around, like he may look around, but I don't. I think he's.
Really? You think he goes back to the Warriors?
I think he goes back to the Warriors, and they'll be forced to move Poole. But they, I think he gets somewhere in the 20 to
Interesting.
25 on like a 3 or 4 year deal. Goes back to the Warriors. I just don't see. I, like if a bad team offers him like over like near 30, I don't. I mean, unless he's just like,
Interesting.
man, I'm good. I don't need to win. But
Interesting. Where do you think Russell Westbrook goes?
back to the Clippers.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting as well. Well, Any final thoughts, man, before tomorrow? How are you feeling? I know it's going to be an intense day for all of us that cover the NBA, that cover the Kings. I think it's going to be a good day. Oh, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably be trades leading up to the draft, people swapping picks, players through the draft. Hopefully, it's fireworks. If not, it'll still be exciting.
It'll still be exciting. Again, make sure you guys hit the like button, share it, share this video for the people that watch this later, and listen to it later as well on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you guys leave a review. It helps out a lot. We are officially back. Basketball is officially back. Gonna be a ton of content. Tyson's been killing it with a lot of the IG reels on Instagram. Make sure you guys check out the work, drop a comment, and a lot of you guys have been dropping comments as well. It's very appreciated. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much. We're excited to be back. Basketball is back. It's always a good time. It's the first day of summer today. You felt the summer heat. Well, at least I did if you were outside. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Stay tuned for a lot more content moving forward. Maybe Tyson does maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to get him, to do more of these videos because I think a lot of people are enjoying them, bro. I appreciate you as always. If you guys want to go hoop, Fulton Avenue, 24-hour fitness. Make sure you guys stop by. They close at 11, so we got about an hour and a half to hoop. But we'll be there tonight if you guys want to join us. Thank you guys so much. And on behalf of the entire CK family and Basketball Zone family, we thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.